Is up, everybody? This is Loose from Real Talk Off Script, and today I have a movie review for you guys. I have been rambling about this movie for months now. I've been trying to get you guys as excited as I am for this, and obviously today's movie review is for the Backrooms. I had a chance to go out and see it last night. Once again, it was a packed crowd at the movie theaters. There's a lot of movies out right now, obviously between Obsession, Backrooms, Mandalorian, Grogu, Pressure just came out. So this Michael is still playing. I think even in some theaters, Project Hail Mary is still playing from what I'm seeing. So there's definitely a reason to be at the theaters. But today we're not going to talk about all that. We are talking about the Backrooms. So like I keep saying, I've been telling you guys about this movie for months now. So I was definitely excited to finally get a chance to see this. And once again, in my reviews, if you have seen it, I don't like to bury the lead. I'm going to come out and let you guys know what I thought about this right off the rip. And I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Through and through. Definitely enjoyed this movie, and I would 100% suggest it to you guys. But with that being said, I do want to get into some of my thoughts and opinions regarding this movie. I'm going to try my best to not spoil anything. And if I do talk about spoilers, I kind of try to talk around it. But right off the bat, I do want to say this movie visually is going to be a standout from a lot of movies that you're going to see in the theater right now. This movie is visually different than a lot of movies that a lot of us has seen. I do know this is not the first movie with a liminal space type of horror thing. There are obviously other movies out there, but I feel like this is the first one to do it with the character that this movie actually has, to say the least. Um, like I said, from a visual standpoint, that's one thing. And a lot of the visual actually comes down to the set design of this movie. Oh my god, there's a lot of scenes in this movie where I'm like, is that real or is that CGI? And then I went and looked it up and I'm like, no, somebody actually built that. That is a set. That's a prop. And that was just amazing to me. There is a scene where our characters start to get deeper and deeper into the back rooms, and it kind of gets out of the realm of some of what we may have seen in trailers or just promotional pictures, and that shit blew my mind. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. A lot of that was just like it made it so much more like it made the ambiance of this movie way more weird than it already was, just from seeing the initial, I guess, entryway, if you want to call it, for the back rooms when Chiwetel Ejiofor's character Clark finally sees the back room for the first time. Like, that's already weird in itself. But once you get deeper and deeper and start to fall more so into the back rooms, it gets way more creepier. And a lot of that is just from the set design, and which I want to get into the next, which is the sound design. They coupled it together and just made a really just weird and unsettling experience in the theater, to say the least. And I loved it. I love that kind of horror. I like the horror that slowly just is riding with you throughout the whole movie, compared to just jump out of a closet, stabby time. Which is cool too. I like a good slasher every now and then. Don't get me wrong. But I more so enjoy horror like this. This is very slow paced, and not in a bad way. This is like slow paced. Like, I'm not gonna run obviously through the back rooms. I'm gonna tiptoe around it, and around every corner you have no idea what you're gonna see. And I feel like that's what made the movie so enjoyable for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people enjoy it as well from that standpoint. So let me get into a couple of more things that I did enjoy about this movie. Chiwetel Ejiofor as Clark. I guess you could say he's the main character of the movie. It's him and Renata Renseva. I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. But her character is Mary, and from the trailers you can see that Mary is Clark's therapist, and that's how they have a relationship. But I do feel like they both did a very good job. I know there's not a lot, and I'll get into it a little bit later. There's not a lot of story here, which I'll explain later in the review, like I said. But I do feel like the story beats that both of those characters were given, I do feel like they really played off of each other well. And even the parts of the movie where they're not together, I still feel like they did a good job, just from an acting standpoint. Especially Chiwetel Ejiofor. Like, his character has to have a lot of range for what his character is asked to do in this movie. And there's not a lot of actors who can do what Chiwetel Ejiofor is capable of. And I definitely think he pulled it off. And then when you pull in Renata's character, Mary, when she gets her own go at the back rooms as well, you get a completely different reaction to what she's experiencing. But as far as the story, what I can say, the story is essentially the characters and their relationship with the environment and the situations that they're put in, I'll say. And on top of that as well, it's really just how they react to what they're seeing as well, based off of their own past traumas, which they kind of get into here or there in the movie, as to why they are that way, why they think that way, and why they move, how they move. Which is something I thought was pretty different. But I feel like with a movie like The Backrooms, where a lot of the character in the movie is the environment itself, like I said, I feel like you kind of had to do it that way. Um, I know a lot of movies they like to give story, not give story, but give backstory to characters, and it kind of makes you relate to them more or care about them more, or whatever the case may be. I feel like this movie didn't necessarily need that, with one of the biggest characters of the movie being the Backrooms itself. So I feel like you didn't really need a real good rundown of who this person was. You could have put a rando in there, which two of the characters that end up in the Backrooms are kind of randos. But when what happens in the movie happens, you still get the same effect, and you still don't want anything bad to happen to them, even though you don't really even know anything about these characters. And I feel like that's what the Backrooms actually, gives to the movie. It can itself be its own character, which I think it was. So that's another thing that I kind of enjoyed about the movie, even though some people didn't like it as much. Um, One thing that I didn't like about the movie, I'll say this: just having, I am a novice when it comes to the Backrooms and its lore. I do know enough to know what the fuck is going on, to be completely honest with you, but I don't have, from top to bottom. I can't run down everything that happened in, Kane Parsons' online series or his YouTube series for the Backrooms. I can't tell you everything that happened, but I know enough to know a little bit, I should say. One of the character reveals in this movie, and I'm just gonna call it character because I don't want to spoil any things. But one of the characters and their character reveal in this movie, they kind of hype it up throughout the movies. It's kind of like a slow build, a slow burn. Once they finally do reveal it, very underwhelming. And it's not only because I thought it was gonna be one character, but it ended up being something else, another take on it. And like I said, I'm using character loosely because if you guys know the Backrooms, I'm pretty sure y'all kind of pick up what I'm putting down. Um, yeah, a little underwhelming. I don't know how a lot of people, especially fans of the Backrooms, are gonna relate to it. I was fine with it. I was cool with it, but once I sat with it more, I was like, if you were gonna switch it up, I wish you would have came a little bit harder with it. So that's one of the things that I didn't like. Another thing that and this is more nitpicky. Another thing that I can kind of nitpick with the movie, just kind of being a fan of what I do know about the Backrooms and liking what I do know so far. I can say that the company Async, which is not really a spoiler, but the company Async, who kind of like they explore the back rooms, try to learn more about it, and try to even exploit it in ways. It's kind of like the evil Weyland Yutani corporation kind of thing from Aliens, but for Backrooms. I wish that was in the movie more because I love stuff like that. I love an evil corporation trying to take advantage of things for their own nefarious deeds. I love shit like that. And to be completely honest, I didn't know if we were going to get any of that from the movie. And if we did, I thought it was going to be a sliver. It was a sliver. So I kind of got what I expected. But I do wish, just in hindsight of seeing it, I wish it was even more in the movie. Of just their presence. Just maybe even just seeing something that they left behind. I wish it was even more of that in the movie than it was, which is a minor nitpick that doesn't take away from the film as it is. But I still, just like I said, the little bit that I do know about the Backrooms, I thought that was very interesting before I saw the movie, and I was hoping that it would be more prominent in the movie, I should say, and that just wasn't the case, which is cool. Another nitpick I can say, but it's not really a bad thing at all. It's just a personal thing. There is found footage in this movie, which is why a lot of people were saying that it's kind of similar to the Blair Witch movie or Chronicles, whatever it's called. I see a lot of people saying that it's similar to that, or they got those vibes from it, just from the found footage point. But I can say the parts where it does show you found footage for what they're supposedly recording from their camera was some of the better parts in the movie. So I wish we got even more of that. We didn't, which is fine. Like I said, that also doesn't take away from my overall enjoyment of the movie. I just wish there was more because they did such a good job with it. I wish I could have saw it a little bit more. So that's another minor nitpick. And before I end the review, I do want to talk about one thing. I have a Threads account, so it go same name, Real Talk, off script. You can find me on Threads. If you guys want to read some of my thoughts about things before I actually get on the podcast and talk about it or make a video about it, some of my thoughts are there. But earlier this morning, I was reading a lot of people's just personal reviews after seeing this movie. And to me, it seemed like a lot of people went into this movie thinking it was going to be one thing, and it actually ended up being something completely different. A lot of people were expecting, like I talked about a little bit earlier, as far as just your traditional horror, like I guess jump scares and horrific monsters crawling around. And that's not to say that there aren't monsters in the back room, because we all know that there are. But what I wanted to say was, a lot of things revolving and regarding Backrooms, it doesn't really have anything to do with traditional horror. This is more of like a liminal space type of thing. Like I said, this is more of a the environment itself is the monster kind of thing. So this is not going to be like I said, you open a door and the killer jumps out and stabs you 27 times in the neck. That's not what this movie is going to be. This is more of an ambiance. This is more of a unease type of thing. This movie was meant to make you feel uneasy, maybe queasy, not so breezy. That's how this movie is supposed to be, essentially. And I feel like they pulled that shit off. That's just me. Like I said, from a visual standpoint, from a sonic and sound design standpoint, I feel like this movie really tied everything together just to make you feel just like just supposed to make you feel a certain way, not just oh I'm waiting for the next jump scare. And I know all horror movies aren't that, but a lot of movies that people enjoy, it's just a bunch of jump scares to be completely honest. And there are a couple in here or there. It's like maybe 3 at max, but that's not what this movie makes its bread and butter on. It's the ambiance, like I keep saying. It's supposed to make you feel a certain way. It's supposed to be unsettling. There's no other way to put it. You're supposed to feel uneasy, and it's supposed to be an unsettling experience. And I feel like for that, I think they hit the nail on the head, and I think they pulled it off. But I do know a lot of people are going to this thinking it's going to be one thing. I just kind of want to tell you to kind of simmer down the expectations. This is not going to be a lot of jump out of the closet, stabby things. Like I said, this is more of an experience, a horror experience, I should say. That's the best way I feel like I can put it. One more thing that I do want to talk about, and now that we're kind of at the end of the review, this is probably the best time to talk about it because this involves the end of the movie. There's going to be a lot of talk online about the way this movie ends. Obviously, every movie has a fucking ending, so I'm not really spoiling anything. But I will say, the way that this movie ends, I feel like there's going to be a lot of dialogue regarding it. If you go see this movie with 5 people, I think all 5 of y'all will probably have y'all take something different away from how this movie ends. Because I think one thing about the movie, I'm not gonna say it in here about the ending. I should say I'm not gonna say it in here. Shit, we could probably go on threads and have a conversation about it. To be completely honest, but I feel like I would have, and I went with my fiance, and we clearly both had different takeaways from how the movie ended. So I don't know if Kane Parsons is gonna give us that series on Backrooms that he said he would like to do. I'm assuming maybe it has anything to do with the well, not has anything to do. This is the movie business, how it works. But I'm pretty sure regarding how good this movie does is that's probably going to be if we get any kind of sequel or series or sequel series, I guess. Like whatever he has planned, I don't know what he has planned, but he said he wants to do more. I'm pretty sure that's riding on how good this movie is going to do, but I think it'll do pretty good because it's a pretty good movie. Once again, Loose approves. I guess this is going to be how I let you guys know movies I really stand by. I give this one a Loose approves. And I also would say if you are interested in going to see this opening weekend, you definitely should. Yeah, I don't think you're missing anything if you kind of wait on this one. I definitely would say see this in the theater. Do not wait for streaming. A lot of the experience of this movie and making it better for you is going to be in the theater with those big ass loud speakers making you feel uneasily and unsettled, like I keep saying. But yeah, go see this in the theaters. Go see this as soon as possible. And I definitely give this one a Loose approves. But that is my review for this movie. I don't have a show today. I do actually have another review for a movie I'm going to see tonight. So I'll have that review out for tomorrow. But I do have a show coming for you guys. Should be before the weekend is out. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, once again, that's my review for Backrooms. Go down in the comments and let me know. Are you guys excited to go see this? Did I make you more excited for it? Are you going to hold off to see it? Are you going to see it opening weekend? Whatever your thoughts are regarding Backrooms, I really genuinely want to know what you guys think. So go down in the comments and let me know. But until next time, peace.